Make Your Bed by William H. McRaven. Little things that can change your life and maybe the world. This book is an extension of a commencement speech that William H. McRaven held, where he shared 10 life lessons that he learned while going through SEAL training and being a SEAL that he felt was universal enough for everyone to be able to apply in their own life. The speech really struck a chord with people. It was uploaded on YouTube and it now has millions upon millions upon millions of views. And in Make Your Bed, McRaven expands on these 10 lessons with stories from SEAL training, the toughest military regime in America. Hi and welcome to the Book Lab. I'm Björn and this is the place where we bring you the best book recommendations when it comes to philosophy, psychology, human nature and human potential. And in today's video we're going to talk about Make Your Bed. What are the lessons that we can learn from this book? Should you read it? And what was my main takeaway? The lessons from this book are simple and commonplace enough, but that doesn't really diminish their value, and the accompanying personal stories that come with each lesson really help driving the point home of these simple life lessons. If you want to change the world, start by making your bed. Start off your day with a completed task. Life is chaotic. There's so many things that are just beyond our control in our everyday life. By starting off by completing a task, a very simple one, sets the trajectory for the rest of the day. Find someone to help you paddle. You can't go through life alone. Collaborate with people, make friends, find a partner. Teamwork is required. And remember that your success depends on others. Measure a person by the size of their heart and not the size of their flippers. Determination and grit are much more important than talent. SEAL training showed McRaven that it was not the size of your wallet, the color of your skin, your body type that mattered, but the size of your heart. Get over being a sugar cookie and keep moving forward. Life is not fair, and the sooner you realize that fact, the better. At SEAL training, the instructors, they ordered people at random to become a sugar cookie. That meant that you were expected to run into the ocean, and when you were wet from head to toe, you were supposed to roll around in the sand on the beach until you had become a sugar cookie. And you were going to stay that way for the rest of the day. Sandy, wet and cold. Don't be afraid of the circuses. In SEAL training, when you failed at some drill, you were punished by getting extra training sessions. A vicious cycle that was designed for recruits to give up. Because the extra training sessions left them exhausted, right? And the next day their chances of succeeding would be diminished. This scheme was called the circus. But if they persisted, something happened. They started to perform better. The extra training started to pay off and they were now finishing first, leaving others behind. The lesson here being, never fear failure, but embrace it wholeheartedly. Sometimes you need to slide down the obstacle head first. Quote, life is a struggle and the potential for failure is ever present. But those who live in fear of failure or hardship or embarrassment will never achieve their potential. Without pushing your limits, without occasionally sliding down the rope head first, without daring greatly, you will never know what is truly possible in your life. To get to the next level, you sometimes have to take calculated risks and you have to overcome your fear and anxieties. Don't back down from the sharks. As a Navy SEAL, McRaven had to swim in the ocean at night and he knew there were sharks there, maybe deep down, maybe closer than that. But his mission and purpose was stronger than his fear. Belief in our goals gives us courage, and courage allows us to face sharks. There are bullies everywhere, but you need to be able to push towards your goal even if there are sharks. Don't let the bullies stop you. You must be your very best at the darkest moments. Rise to the occasion. In the darkest moments you reach deep within and bring out your best. Start singing when you're up to your neck with mud. During Hell Week, the most challenging part of SEAL training, a week full of constant drills, no sleep and never-ending harassment from instructors, the easiest way you can make the suffering stop is just to give up, to quit, and you're constantly urged to do so. Just quit, you can come and sit here with us, the instructors might say. Look, it's warm here, we have warm clothes. All you have to do is say the word. Deep into Hell Week, we could see in the recruits' eyes that they were on the brink of giving up. And at this point, one of the persons in the group started to sing. Eventually, others chimed in. They were in this together, they stood in unity, and they were not gonna let anyone crush their spirits. Hope can be a powerful way of inspiring that tomorrow will be better, that the pain won't last. Don't ever ring the bell. You will face adversity, unbearable suffering, and you will run into problems that seem insurmountable. But never ever give up. Don't fall into victim mentality. Don't pity yourself. If you do, you will never overcome your shortcomings and you will never reach your goals. The lessons from this book are universal and can be applied to your life even if you're not a Navy SEAL. And I think one of the main reasons why we regular people don't learn these lessons in the same way as someone who goes through something as hard as SEAL training is because it's at the extremes where the universal truths of the world makes themselves known in a simple and straightforward way. And we just don't spend that much time on the extremes. And that's why stories from books like this are so important, because we can learn a lot from them. And it's the same on the other side of the spectrum, right? Where people really go into zero, no thinking, just stillness, no action. That's also where you find universal truth, but on the other end of that extreme. It's funny that I swing this book around because this is not actually Make Your Bed. This is the daily journal, a companion product. But I was so eager to read this book, so I ordered it, but I couldn't really wait to read it until it arrived. So I bought the audiobook as well. I consume most of my reading through audiobooks. So I listened to the book, and when it finally arrived, I've already read the book through audiobook, and I realized this is kind of a daily journal type of thing. The issue I have with this book is not the lessons themselves, but the short format. It feels like it's not enough for it to really sink in. I only get to stick my toe in each topic and then it's on to the next thing. A week after I finished it, it felt like I've forgotten most of it. And you might have a different experience from me, but I felt like I wanted to leave you in this review with some alternative reading that I find more lasting and impactful. I will give you 3 alternative books with life lessons that you can read, and I will provide a link in the description below to the full review of each of these books. And while you're down there, subscribe and like and all of that. It really helps me reach more people, so I can reach people with more great books, and I want to enlighten the world with reading. I think reading makes the world better. The first book that I have is 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. This book also contains life lessons, but I felt it was more impactful and lasting than Make Your Bed. Jordan Peterson starts off each chapter with rules for life, and as you go through the chapters, you don't really know where he's heading when you start it, but he always drives the point home. I've read it 2 times, and I felt like it was even more impactful the second time. 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. The second book that I want to recommend is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. This book was a real game changer for me when it comes to mindset, determination, and grit. David Goggins, he was also a Navy SEAL, and this tells his stories of his life, going from being fat and lazy to becoming one of the toughest men on earth. This is a really good book if you want to raise the bar for yourself. And last but not least, A Guide to the Good Life by William Irvine, a book that totally changed my life, one of my favorite books of all time. In this book, Irvine takes ancient Stoic philosophy and turns it into practical advice for how to live your life. This is a really good book, so check that one out. Other books that I'm reading now and upcoming reviews will be The Moral Animal that I'm reading by Will Wright, talking about evolutionary psychology, and also, on a total other side of the spectrum, Parallel Universes of Selves by Frederick Dodson, a book about reality creation and manifestation. 2 very separate books, but that's the fun with reading, right? You can explore many different topics, many different perspectives of life. I'll be back next week with more book reviews, and until then, Björn out. Take care.